Perception of methodology. However, Dubois' talented notion has at minimum two major issues. One, the procedure of choosing the commune to become a part of the quorum group, and two, a tiny group of elites demonstrating a great mass of commune increases the opportunities of depravity amongst the collection in power. The issue of choosing who will associate the elite set of Negroes to direct the rest of the van to some shape of public salvation is doubtful, because there is no obvious way to scale who realizes what is right for a whole vein of commune. The notion of the endowed tenth appears to limit its option pool to commune who are in college. Applying like these restrictions appears to reject the truth that there are possibly some non-collegiate women and men that could render as great commanders, as well as the truth that there are also some collegiate women and men who may not realize how to help in uplifting a complete vein. Additionally, they may be stimulated by self-interest. Ultimately, when an individual or tiny group attains power that is intended to support others, depravity is sometimes extending. Booker notes that throughout the initial 19 years of Tuskegee City, in this time, 40 bills, counting small and large, have been built, and all except 4 are almost wholly the product of student labor. Booker then said there was more worth in perception of methodology by physically performing rather than purely reading. Education is a function of implementation. For instance, when met with the demand for bricks to elaborate on the amplification of the school, Booker recognized that there was no site where bricks are made in that space. Recognizing that there was both a cultural and a frugal necessity within the society, Booker inserted brick masonry to the curriculum. Instead of imparting how to fabricate bricks from reading publications, the scholars sought to gain this awareness through trial and mistake. Understanding this commerce proved to be troublesome, but what time they mastered the procedure, the scholars of Tuskegee had an ability that could be participated to any society in which they existed. Booker is the ideal model of this scenario. He set out with his sight on how he needed to assist progress the vein in common. Anyway, when anyone reviewed him, he took measurements to count them, as agreed to classifying the critique immediately. For instance, one individual, William Monroe Trotter, allowed to criticize Booker's situation. Booker ultimately had him restrained for annoyance, and he cracked down on other pundits that helped Trotter, involving Dubois, by attempting to go past newspapers that disagreed him by funding their contenders. He even obliged trustees of Atlanta University to dress down Professor George Downs, who helped Trotter. Thus, having a tiny group of elite Negroes to symbolize the entire vein may not necessarily be the preferable thing, because they may have good intents initially. The seduction for self-conservation may be too magnificent to resist depravity if there is no bigger group to observe their activities. Instead of a tiny group of commune leading African Americans to public parity, the significance of higher teaching that Dubois has practiced should be inherent in African American cultivation.